Hey everybody, check it out. What's up? It's Hercules Porsche's professional intro. Yay!
Answer me something, guys. Answer me. Out of all the videos I've created, I, I think this could very possibly be the one I require the most feedback on. I really need to understand the kind of alien, to me at least, thinking that's going on behind this series, because I have to ask, I really have to know, why the fuck would anybody play Destiny 2? Why? In fact, you know what? My question goes farther back than that. How the fuck did Destiny as a fucking thing, get 4 pieces of DLC that were purchased en masse and make it into a sequel after that complete piece of dog shit that was the original Destiny. I don't fucking understand it. I don't get how this game series has made it this far. I do not fucking understand how it got this far. I don't. I don't. The appeal of this game is alien to me. I don't get it. It's a flaccid piece of shit. I'm sorry. I know I sound like one of those typical, YouTubers right now who just go on angry rants and overuse swear words, you know, just for the sake of being Mr. fucking angry guy. But you check out the rest of this channel. Most of the time, I make videos on here. I keep it nice and calm and, light and humorous, and I give very few fucks about very few things, but I really don't understand it, okay? And most of this video is just me going back, trying to get it, trying to remember that terrible, terrible game that the first Destiny was, and trying to understand, relating what I remember about it, and just desperately trying to understand how the series made it this far. Okay, so full disclosure, and this is gonna be apparent anyway, so there's no way I'm gonna be able to hide this, but I did not play any of the DLC after Destiny was released. After I played the uh, first game, I was done. I was like, no, this is garbage. They will not get any more of my money for this product. Period. Now, going back even further, I was, shall we say, a little bit of a Bungie fanboy. Okay, I was the biggest fucking Bungie fan you could picture, and not it had actually nothing to do with the fact with well, not nothing, but it wasn't even majorly related to the fact that that I enjoyed Halo. I mean, I wasn't even a giant Halo nut. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I actually didn't. I mean, I played all the Halos at one time or another, but I didn't really get super into it until Halo Reach, which was, I know it's a weird time to get into it. It's definitely not the most popular Halo. Um, but I mean, I enjoyed 3 quite a bit. Played that a decent amount before that, but yeah, it actually went all the way back to Marathon. These were some. A lot of people have never played Marathon. These were some classic first-person shooters that were actually originally constructed for the Macintosh. They were basically the first first-person shooters that a Macintosh player, someone playing a Mac back in the day could, enjoy. At a time when, the Macintosh had pretty much no games at all, and I'm sure probably to this day, uh, the Mac is still well an inferior machine to play games on than a regular gaming PC. But yeah, that's besides the point. I'm just saying, my love of Bungie was special. Okay, it was just not it wasn't another random, Halo fanboy. I had some real history, following the products that this company put out. Okay, So, yes, around the time I remember, guys, I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I remember fanboying hard, super hard for this product. It was pretty. The fanboy in me at the time was real. It was not a small amount of fanboy in me, okay? And I just have to admit that. I just have to openly admit the excitement I had for Destiny. I knew it was going to be a different game than Halo. I knew it was not going to be a Halo carbon copy. I believe I understood it was going to have RPG elements and all that stuff. So, I didn't go in expecting a Halo carbon copy, or certainly not a Marathon carbon copy, although I don't know how that would even be a thing, whatever, 10, 20 years later. But, um, yeah, I'm sure the disappointment I had with what Destiny actually was apparent. It was just, I can't even, there isn't even a word for the level of letdown that Destiny was for me, okay? I mean, we'll start with the obvious stuff. The campaign, I mean, I can nitpick that campaign across 1,000 levels. I mean, I'm just trying to think of the things that stuck out. Obviously, the plot was non-existent. I'm sure people who stuck with it and did the DLC will tell me there was some amazing whatever the fuck thing they put in later, but I don't care about DLC because I was already so disenchanted with the game by, you know, well before the DLC came out that I never made it to that point. And, God, it was just, the campaign was just terrible. I mean, the plot was pretty much non-existent. They did, and, yeah, and I was so excited. I remember being so excited because I was like, Peter Dinklage in a Bungie game? I'm there. There's no way this can fail. But it fell so fucking hard on its face. I mean, Peter Dinklage, I think was he Ghost? I don't remember if Ghost was the name of the character or all the or the whatever the type of AI mini creature he was. But I think it's pretty much a historic failure. His completely flat voice acting, and just to be clear, I am still a huge over-the-top, ridiculous Peter Dinklage fan. I mean, I still really admire the job he did portraying that character, Tyrion Lannister, in Game of Thrones, obviously. So yeah, it's not like I, lost, oodles of respect for Peter Dinklage for kind of not delivering on that role. It really had more to do with, I mean, maybe he went in there and half-assed it, but I think it's a lot more likely that whoever was giving him direction or was creating that character, or whatever, didn't spell out for him what needed to happen to make that an interesting character or a memorable character. I really believe that. I mean, I'm not going to claim to know everything about the acting business or the voice acting business or anything, but I really believe direction is a part of any kind of making an actor able to do his job properly, and I really think more likely than not it was poor direction rather than Peter Dinklage phoning it in. But yeah, that character, some of the dullest voice acting delivery I can think of in video games. I mean, there is loads and loads of terrible voice acting in video games, but that was definitely a huge disappointment. I think that whole line from the beta, that wizard came from the moon, has probably gone down in history as one of the I don't know, one of the most kind of like sadly delivered voice lines ever. I mean, it lives in infamy, not the good kind now. But So yeah, the plot was non-existent. There was voice acting that was just done horribly, and it was incoherent. And I mean, I understand it was a whole. They were merging RPG and sci-fi, so they wanted sort of, you could say, oh, it was ambiguous RPG elements or whatever you want to call it, but it was just bad. It was just crap. And I don't know, Bungie fans never should have been subjected to that. And the gameplay of the campaign itself, really dull, extra dull. The enemies had very straightforward, bland AI that was completely not memorable. In fact, the enemies themselves weren't memorable. If you asked me to draw the enemies from Destiny, I don't think I could do it. I think if you put up a lineup of video game enemies and asked me to pick out, which ones from Destiny, there's a good chance I'd fail. There's a good chance I wouldn't even remember how to pick them out of a lineup. They were that uninteresting and forgettable. And I mean, it's nothing like, the enemies in Halo. I think the, grunts and brutes and elites and various enemies from the Flood. I think those are all seared in my brain now and will forever be. And actually, that line about me drawing enemies is moot because I can't draw even with I had a fucking ruler to help me. But you get what the fuck I'm saying, right? It's fucking lame enemies with lame AI and lame appearances and just poor, not imagined well, not designed well, nothing. So yeah, completely lacking in plot, gameplay, level design, also forgettable, and the whole always online thing, crappy fucking idea. The idea of having a single player campaign is you don't rely on the fucking network, and completely pointless. There was no reason to create a campaign in that fashion where the always online thing. What, because I occasionally get to play the campaign with other players? That never fucking happened. Never. I stumbled across any number, a handful of other players while I was moving from relevant single player zone to relevant single player zone. I never did any of those. I never felt any need to group up to do anything in the campaign. Because there was no challenge, there was no intelligence, the AI, nothing. It was just dull all around. Now, what can I say that I remember about the multiplayer? I certainly can't sit here and tell you it was as terrible as the campaign. I'd be lying if I said I got zero enjoyment from Destiny multiplayer. But compared to what I expect from an FPS, there wasn't much. It was very short-lived, my love of Destiny multiplayer. There was, I think, if I remember right, there were 4 primary weapons that you had to pick before you even went in the match. Like, you had to set up a suit, whatever. I mean, not in the cool way that they're customized, in the game I'm playing right now. It's like, there were not a whole lot of weapon variety choices, okay? That's what I'm saying. All in all, poor weapon variety in the multiplayer. And I mean, it's like, yeah, you had to set up your character beforehand, which is fine. I'm totally on board with games like that, but what you had to pick, before the match started did not have a very interesting variety. And obviously I believe they put some heavy weapons on the map that you could pick up, and that was another thing in your arsenal. But yeah, just generally uninteresting weapons. In the game as a whole, that's not even just multiplayer. That was just in the game as a whole. I will give a small props. I do think they did a half decent job. With actual balance. That was actually the one surprising redeeming feature of that game was, they had everyone. It was an RPG / FPS, and everyone had their own gear. But and this probably didn't last because I probably stopped playing before too many people got epics or whatever. But I felt like early on the multiplayer felt decently balanced, considering everyone there was, gear imbalance tends to ruin a lot of, a huge factor in most RPG type whatever. And I thought, given that it was an RPG FPS, there wasn't horrible balance issues. So I will give small credit where credit is due, but um, I don't remember good weapon variety. I don't remember good map variety, and I just don't remember being particularly engaged with multiplayer for very long. The level design was okay-ish, but not. There wasn't very much of it. There wasn't a whole lot of. There wasn't enough variety in the levels to, motivate me to keep playing for very long. And obviously that would have been different for people who bought the freaking DLC, but for, people who got annoyed with the lack of content on release, that well of multiplayer action ran dry for me pretty fucking quick. So, yeah, I'm sure I don't know. I'm just picturing if some fanboy is gonna come on here and say like, "You missed so much getting the DLC," blah blah blah. It's like I could never fucking make myself. I don't understand that franchise. And now, of course, the trailer is out for Destiny 2, and that came out 4 days ago, and I don't know why I'm only reacting now to it, but yeah, and there is one of my favorite actors is in it. Of course, Nathan Fillion. He's a sci-fi fan favorite, and I will, of course, forever love Firefly deep in my heart, and I respect all the video game voice acting work he's done. Even the voice acting in Halo 5, which was, a meh game, but not even Nathan Fillion's sweet voice is enough to tempt me into getting into Destiny 2. And I mean, obviously, the whole thing I went into about Peter Dinklage, who again, I thought it was an amazing actor, but that was the lesson. No matter how much you like actor X, if you know thing Y is gonna make the game terrible, it's just unredeemable. No talented actor is talented enough to redeem that game. And let's remember that what took place in that trailer, very low chance of it actually translating into fun in the game. I mean, I would almost place bets. I would say 1 in 4 chances of them, even those characters from the trailer, even making it into the game. 1 in 4 tops. 1 in 4 absolute tops. And a negligible chance that even if they make it in the game, that it'll be A, anything more than a cameo, and B, that they will actually be interesting in the game, anywhere close to as interesting in the game as they were in the trailer. I just don't see it happening. I mean, that's game trailers for you these days, folks. They don't have to have anything to do with the in-game content. I mean, we saw it in Halo 5 Guardians, where they completely sold us a false bill of goods. With what was going on with Master Chief and that other Spartan. I mean, I know Halo and Bungie have gone their separate ways, but I can't help think of that. Overwatch, by the way, I love Overwatch. Don't jump down my throat, but let's be real. That game is not about story. People fan hard over the characters, but there is no campaign. As good as Overwatch is, there is no campaign, and you don't need to know the characters' backstories to play that game. And they're only involved in a superficial way. Anyway, I'm getting off track, but yeah, fuck Destiny 2. Garbage. I'll never touch it. You'd have to pay me to play that fucking game. Not the other way around. Fucking trust me on this. Anyway, that was my whole rant. Hope you guys enjoyed. The fucking subscribe or some shit. I don't fucking care. End of the rant. Bye. If you have to play an RPG/FPS, play Warframe. It's not fucking perfect, but it is fucking free.